Hi, folks. You are watching and listening, hopefully listening, to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks like iTunes and Spotify. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Todd Mayville in semi-sunny Colorado.
waiting for 9 inches of snow.
Yes, I am.
But
My day.
yeah, as you can tell, Todd is our resident Colombian drug dealer. No, he's not. He's actually, actually a Colombian hat for those of you who've seen Todd. And they're really popular, and it's back with Colombian rock bands who play, they play a lot of accordion. So he's actually a resident accordion player, through WSET level 2, and a Consumo Catador graduate. Yep. Today, we are going to taste and dissect a brand new iteration of Astral Tequila.
Yeah.
For those of you who are old dogs like me, you probably remember Astral when it first came on the scene. It was made at another distillery. It was a high proof Blanco only. And this time around, Todd, we get a chance to taste the Reposado and the Añejo. We have an Añejo also. No Blanco.
Nope.
It is, to my knowledge, I haven't looked at the label yet, but I don't think it's a high proof. And it's all new branding, folks.
80
in a whole new distillery. And anyway, we're gonna taste the juice as usual. Yeah. Then we're gonna give you the ins and outs and the stats and stories. We discovered off camera, there's a ton of supposedly transparent information that I was not aware of. But I am aware of a couple of things that that I will relate as we go through our tasting. I'm going to pour mine in a Stasel jarrito that I normally use for mezcal. I'm going to pour my Repo in this.
I have my trusty Glencairn.
And right off the bat, this is a clear bottle, so it doesn't look like it's like a pale straw.
Yeah. Yep.
And Todd, you did some of the footwork, some of the research. Do they tell us how long that Repo's been aged at all?
Oh, I did not see that anywhere, actually. Okay. Let's see here. Let me open up this tab. And see.
Don't close your tabs.
Almost did. Yeah. Okay. The Reposado, aged for 5 months in single-use American Oak Bourbon barrels.
Single use, 5 months?
Yeah. So, well, for the bourbon, you can only use a barrel one time when you're making bourbon.
No, I know that, but only 5 months, and it's this light.
Only 5 months, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, correct. That's right. You're the bourbon steward, so he's my interpreter. I understand that you can only use bourbon and whiskey barrels once legally. And then the secondary market is where it explodes.
Oh yeah,
big time. Sell these barrels to yourself, like Brown-Forman does.
Yeah,
because they own Herradura, so they sell their own Jack Daniel's barrels to Herradura, and everybody gets paid, right?
Yeah,
so, what a racket. Anyway, I'm just surprised that it's single use and it's
a lot darker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I expected.
Yeah.
The legs and tears are beautiful, though.
Oh, yeah. Like that.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Legs and tears forever.
Right?
That's going to have some great mouthfeel. Wow.
Oh. Woo. Don't hate that.
Well, let's see what we're getting on the nose. I'm hoping this one opens up a little bit more than the one we did just a little while ago.
Oh, yeah, it already has.
Ooh.
I'm getting some caramel there. I got caramel, like right away. Got caramel.
Some decent alcohol as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. This isn't like
there's your caramel. Yeah. It's like a butterscotch almost.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a healthy. Yeah, this is nice barrel notes on. It's refreshing for us to have these barrel notes, because the previous tequila that we did, if you haven't watched this in order, and you probably won't, we just did a Reposado Cristalino. We couldn't get anything on the nose. It was like no barrel, no nothing. It's like it was all in the flavor. So it's like, oh, this is what I remember. Oh, this is nice, and this is a nice nose, very pleasant nose. I'm getting like orange blossom on the top, and then it gets heavier and heavier at the more fragrant at the bottom of the glass.
Down towards bottom, like a little hints, like almost a cinnamon, like little.
Todd, really quickly, tell people why you're holding your Glencairn sideways. Just, I know you explained it to me once, but I mean.
So when you do it this way and you kind of sniff down top to bottom, you're actually getting different notes. Like, so you end up with like a really light,
the light aromas, really. the primaries, and the tertiaries, and the okay.
Yeah,
primary, secondary, tertiary.
Yeah, you're like your literal heavier molecules, especially from the barrel, are going to float down towards the bottom. So I'm getting like more of the agave stuff up here, working my way actually down into the barrel.
Okay.
Down towards here. Kind of
see cool. that was a cool little trick that he taught me. I didn't know, you know.
A distiller taught me that actually.
See, I learned something new from you guys every single day, man. This is the best part of my job, is I can always be stupid, because that's not a stretch for me. That's not a stretch for me. Even though I wrote the book, yeah, I can be stupid. I don't know everything. Because as Todd says, as you said to me, anybody that says that they know everything about a certain
spirit, oh yeah, they're lying. They're absolutely
lying.
Yeah.
The wisest thing I've ever heard from anybody. And this guy's got 3 certifications, and he's working on being a cheese master.
Yep.
Wow, that's beautiful though. The wood notes are just opening up nicely. Yeah. So pretty. This almost has enough character in it in the nose to, it almost smells now like an añejo. It's opened up really beautifully. Wow, I'm impressed. Oh, they're using great barrels, man.
There's always that little party who wants to know whose barrels. I mean, rarely will you ever find out. They will almost never.
Well, unless you're in a barrel room.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll find out more often than not, if you've been to more than one distillery and you look at their barrels, they'll say use whiskey barrels. It comes from everybody.
Oh, it does.
They buy barrels from everyone, you know, so not just Jack Daniels, it's Heaven Hill. You know, you look for that stamp on the top of that barrel or on the side, and you'll know where they're getting it from. You know, some of them are surprising. It's like Elijah Craig, really? Buffalo Trace? How come you didn't say this? Oh, we don't want to give them, you know, advertising.
That's exactly why. They're like, yeah, we're not going to say. All right.
Wow, that's a beautiful nose. I'm ready to dive in if you are.
Me too. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Salud.
Hello.
Ooh.
That was a little bit more full bodied than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Wow.
I got to go in one more time.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a little surprised and chagrined.
Got some smoke on there for sure.
Well, that's coming from your bourbon barrel.
Yep, definitely.
Whatever pepper was in the Blanco, and we have no Blanco. They didn't send us a Blanco, which is a shame, because when we back engineer and tell you how they process this tequila, you're going to want that Blanco.
Oh, absolutely.
If in fact everything they're saying is true.
Right.
Okay? The pepper from the agave has turned into that cinnamon, that like a hot cinnamon.
Yeah. Like the red hots kind of a thing.
Yeah. And you generally get that too from a good bourbon barrel. So you know.
Got some good I got some clove on there too, like a clove.
Well, the smoke you were talking about, that's the clove, I think. Yeah. The retronasal for me brings up a lot more wood.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Here's what I'm not sure of. Do me a favor.
Uh-huh.
Read their processing of how they make their tequila.
Okay.
Because you found it. I want you to just read it off the website.
Yeah. It says our production process is steeped in tradition and features a unique milling process using a tahona, a stone wheel which crushes the juices from the agave fibers. Those crushed fibers, or bagazo, are then used in the fermentation process to make use of more of the agave plant. This technique embraces the true character and flavor of the agave to create a complex yet smooth tequila with notes of agave and bursts of citrus.
All right, number one, it's not smooth.
No, it's got
There's a lot of character to it.
Mhm.
Secondly, if they're using all this process, you know, there's just a handful of tequilas who are doing things like this ancestrally. One of them is Siempre.
Mhm.
They came out with Viva, where they're fermenting, you know, with the fibers, and then they're using some of the fibers for distillation.
Right.
That juice is wild, and it's at a higher ABV.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I think they're using a tahona, if I'm not mistaken. This doesn't taste like that. And to be fair, Viva comes only in a blanco. It's not aged or reposed for 5 months in a barrel.
Right, right.
So I know I'm talking two different things, but I would love to taste this blanco with that ancestral style of making tequila, because there's some afternotes that are confusing to me, Todd. And I know you and I haven't done enough of these, you know, especially in this process.
Yeah.
You know, the mainstream ones we're able to discern.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's something in here. There's a butteriness that I'm getting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because the mouthfeel, I feel like a coating.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, some butter that's like, this is a little weird.
Well, butter comes from distillation.
Yeah.
If you remember, you were one of the ones that was using the aroma wheel religiously for every sample in our consumer Catador course.
Right.
And butter comes from the distillation.
Right. Right.
I think from
fermentation.
Fermentation, actually.
Yep.
Bear with me. I've got my aroma wheel right here. That I should have handy. And I don't ever show my ass on camera because I ain't got one. I used to have one.
Talking about.
Yeah, there you go. See, he's got all his notes. Now, when we look for butter, slow and fast cooked butter, it comes in fermentation. See here, folks. It tells you what process produces this flavor profile. So slow fermentation, if you're going to use fibers, you're going to use do they tell us how long it's fermented and whether it's open air fermentation?
See, that's what I was wondering. I wish it did, because the tequilas I've to gravitate towards myself very often are in open wooden tanks with a lot of the wild yeast coming in. I've definitely found like, oh my God, I like those a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah, but it doesn't say. It just says, I'm gonna go back to the page here.
I mean, if they're using fibers to ferment, I would imagine it would be the smart thing to do to put it in a pine vat, let it sit there, and let in open air, because you want to go as ancestral as possible.
Right?
Is it possible for them to have the fibers and then throw in champagne yeast? I don't know. I'm not a distiller. Possible. I don't know. You could use an accelerant, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's acceptable. I just don't know how efficient that is. If you're going to put fibers, let the fibers collect the dust. You know, the microbes. Let them do their job.
I mean, honestly, considering who owns them, and it's not a slight against this company whatsoever, but because they're going to want to try towards more almost like a volume, they want to make sure they have enough of it. And they might use a commercial yeast of some sort to kickstart the process.
But with fibers, but with the fibers on top of that? See, I don't know. I've never asked anyone. If you guys know, if you've talked to a distiller, that's one question that I've never asked, because it's rare that you see a tequila. You see mezcals doing that with fibers. and they just leave it up to God. You know, they'll
Yeah.
put a cross in it and go, you know, well, we brought you this far. Here you go. Yeah,
Yep.
let him do what he's got to do. And you know, and then every 1,000 meters, depending on the area in Oaxaca or in that area there where they make mezcal, every 1,000 meters has different types of microbes that
Right.
the juice, the fermentation process. In tequila, that's not always the case. So it's not uncommon that they use an accelerant, you know, whether it's a proprietary use, proprietary yeast, champagne yeast, or something else.
Yeast, who knows?
Yeah, you know, brewer's yeast. But there's a lingering buttery aftertaste that I don't always get. It is reminiscent of what you get with Fortaleza, because Fortaleza uses only they use a tahona, and the tahona will leave a very specific minerality and flavor profile to the Blanco.
Sure.
And that's why I wish I had the Blanco, because I got nothing else to go on.
Right.
So I can only assume that whatever is coming through here, that is an additional layer of complexity that's not from the barrel,
Right.
is coming from the Blanco. I would hope so.
Yeah. Hard
Is
to
it?
say.
I don't know. Let me tell you why I'm not sure. You're gonna hate me when I tell you this. Here we go, Todd. I'm gonna go ahead and
Do it.
Okay, folks. Here we go. Are you ready for this? For those of you who are not familiar with this distillery, this used to be made at La Cofradia, which is 1137. When it was in its heyday, it was a high proof Blanco, and it was only made there. And as far as I know, they only made it in Blanco. And it was owned by a gentleman, I forget his name right now. He's a master sommelier. He has since sold the brand. He used to own Sombra and Astral, and he sold those brands, and he's currently making Comos Tequila, or now they call it Casa Comos, and he's back at La Cofradia. This is made at 1607. That's NOM 1607. That is known as, I'll give you the full name, Grupo Solave. They also make Natima, 818, Astral, and 8 Reserve by 818. Right now, they only have 4 tequilas coming out of there. To my understanding, they have everything in that distillery under the sun. They have a tahona, but they also have a diffuser.
Oh. That's unfortunate.
Well, here's the thing. Astral, when tell us who owns that brand, Todd. You found that out.
Diageo, which is like a massive multinational. Now, if you drink alcohol, you had Diageo's products.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, you do. Seriously. So they're everywhere. Scotches, whiskeys, bourbons. I mean, they love celebrities, so they have a deal with P. Diddy. You know, Ciroc, they own Ciroc. They've got other celebs. Well, they have serving suggestions. Yeah, wow. This is lot 3. It tells you when they bottled it, 1059.
Huh.
Lot 3. This imported by Diageo, Nueva York.
Richard Betts is the guy who founded Astral Tequila.
Yes, Richard Betts. He no longer owns that. He owns Casa Comos. Now they say nutrido por el sol y las estrellas. It's nurtured by the sun and the stars. Distilled and bottled in Matitan, Jalisco. That's interesting. I did not know that distillery was in Matitan, and I love Matitan, that area. Hecho en Mexico. It's 80 proof. Now, for those of you who like to avoid tequilas with a diffuser, here's the thing. when you are dealing with a company that's with a plant, a fabrica, a factory that's that big, that has everything. You have a Taona on one side, you have over the fence, supposedly, according to the 818 videos you watch, and go watch the 818 Instagram. They really try to give you as much transparency, or illusory transparency as possible. The diffusers over that fence, they only supposedly, and I have not had the juice from this distillery, I've had it from the original distillery, and I still have my bottles from those folks. Their PR company made it happen when they first rolled out, and I thank them. One of my mentors is a member of the company of 818, who is their brand ambassador and their quality control. He's the tequila designer for 818. Great guy, wonderful man. So when he left Casa Noble to work for 818, that spoke volumes to me. The first iteration of 818 is very mainstream. I'm okay with that, because they were using French oak barrels, and all that, and it's going to be sweeter. It just is. Okay. I don't care about the celebrity. I don't care.
Yeah.
But if you folks are afraid that they're eventually, what happens with a brand is that once they start to grow and more of their, Diageo didn't buy this just to keep it small.
No.
They bought it because they have worldwide distribution.
Right.
And we all know that when your arms reach that far out, you've got to make more. So to say that this is being made artisanally and you have a diffuser on site, what's going to happen when you decide I can't keep up? Or again, for those of you who are not aware, on the normas, the rules and regulations of tequila, a distillery can buy Blanco tequila from other distilleries without telling you where it's coming from. And there's no reason to even buy Blanco from someone else when you're already making diffuser tequila for somebody else.
And so for those who are not familiar with Diageo, they have some of the smallest brands you'll never heard of, like Johnny Walker and Guinness and Tanqueray, Bailey's, Smirnoff, Captain Morgan, stuff you've never heard of. Crown Royal.
Yeah.
Sure,
Captain Morgan. I haven't seen Captain Morgan in years, man.
Yeah, so little tiny company, little tiny.
Just say left Puerto Rico. I have not heard anything about those guys.
So
You tell me, Todd, what do you think
about this particular tequila?
Yes.
I mean, I would really like to have had the Blanco just so I know what the baseline is.
Me too.
I want to know, like, is the butter from something else, or is it from the fermentation process? I'd love to know more about that fermentation process. The fibers are in it, but what kind of tank is it in? Is it a sealed over? Are you using commercial yeast? Are you using wild yeasts?
Is it stainless steel? Is it wood? Yeah. What are you doing? If they're a factory that has everything, then is it a blend? Are you blending this? Are you using fibers in your wood vats and you're blending it with the tequila made in stainless steel vats?
And that's fine.
Yeah, blending is okay. I'm okay with that.
Just let us know.
Because the underlying flavor that I get every time I get a pass now on this is that butter.
Yeah.
And that's either from the fibers to me or the Taona. But I can't be sure.
Right. Just tell me. I mean, it's a good reposado for sure. I do like it.
So would you say we can throw it into the Brand of Promise nominee?
I think we can. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think the repo is passable. I think for now. For now, until they gain a certain limit, a certain size of distribution, the juice could change, but you may not know it's changed.
Right.
Because that's what happened to Herradura.
Right.
It wasn't until people came up to me. I was living in New Mexico then. And one bartender distinctly said, Mike, everybody is shaking their bottles trying to get bubbles. And I used to do that with Herradura. He goes, I'm not getting bubbles anymore. Do you know why? I have no clue, man.
Hmm.
It turns out Herradura was using a diffuser since 2001.
Wow.
But they were doing it for 10 years before they came clean.
Sure.
By that point, you know, who's gonna know?
Right.
And
yeah, if you do it
so-
subtly enough, you can blend in your old stuff with your new stuff. Just very subtle shifts. You see it all the time with the different spirits. There is a spirit that is produced here in Colorado that when it first came out was fantastic, and then it got bought by a multinational, and I've had it since, and it's not the same whiskey. Not at all.
Wow.
So, you know.
Well, there's a lot of I don't want to call it teabagging, but I guess, you know, where they put they don't age it, but they put the wooden staves in it. And,
Oh yeah.
you know,
that
it,
happens a bit.
it kind of infuses, and that's like these are glass tanks or something that I've heard of. Well, that I've seen. I you know, there's a mezcal that's supposedly done like that, or an American agave spirit. I don't know what happened with that one. Okay, I'll go there. I'll go there as a Brandon Promise nominee in the Reposado. That's our take, folks. What's our MSRP on this thing? Do we have a
It was like $40, $35, I think it was, something like that. Because remember we talked about being inexpensive for Reposado.
Yeah, they gave us, let me see what the press release says. They gave us $27.99 for the Reposado. I don't know, for as labor intensive as fermenting with, you know, agave fibers and then distilling with agave fibers, $27 is cheap.
Yeah, it really is. I was like, ooh, that's an expensive Reposado.
Because Viva, and again, Viva Tequila, that's again a high proof, whole different animal. I get it, I understand it, but still, you know, labor intensive. I like what they've done with the new branding. It's very clever. It's got a good hand feel on the bottle. You know, some molding on there that's got a little agave or a sun on it. And very nice.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna. It's very attractive. Okay.
Price point's actually interesting. Like, because I think that Repo is actually less expensive than one of my favorite Blancos, which is Tapatio.
Oh yeah, but you're talking about Tapatio again, apples and oranges.
Yeah.
You have a huge factory, and you have Tapatio that's got a reputation. And you know, this is a fairly new distillery, and it's only got 4 brands out of it, and its main customer is 818. Because boom, 818.
Yep.
As you know, the Kardashians and the Jenners and whoever else is.
All those. Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. But that's our take, folks. If you've had it before. And what are you doing with it? Great cocktail. I think it would be a great cocktail tequila as well.
Yeah, I agree.
There was a recent article that I posted on Facebook. If you haven't seen it, and it gives you an idea of what the trends are for tequila at this point. You know what people are doing with it. You know what the percentages are. California, the biggest consumer of tequila in the United States. No secret there.
No.
The Four Corners area actually has been traditionally the biggest consumer of mixto tequila in the United States. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's Four Corners.
Interesting.
Let's just dump everything near their Indian reservations and hope for the best.
Yep.
Because, you know, anyway. Long story short, that's my take. That's our take. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That's what there is.
Todd Mayville out in Colorado, the Rocky Mountains.
You can you know, you've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media. All of our channels and networks. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like, leave us a comment. Tell us what you're doing with it. Put it down there. Tell us, hey, this stuff I don't like it. This stuff I love it. It's great. I buy it all the time. What are you doing with it? You know, but either way. Tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.